Alright, we're going to do a quick video review here of the NewTrent NT38B. It's called the Airbender 1.0. Is the case. I should went through an unboxing earlier. There's the case, the new Airbender 1.0. You can see here the iPad 2, 3, and 4. This is an iPad 3. It's on right now. I really like the solid feel of this. The case, when it's open and closed, you really get that click. It's not like the click of a laptop. You kind of hear it. You can hear it open. It turns on the screen as soon as you go into it. You type your password with it. I was doing that off screen. So that's integrated well. I haven't seen that with all the keyboards. The different positions you can go in with this. This is a standard position I find I use more, is to adjust the tilt and leave it in this frontmost. If you want a little bit farther away, you can put it back here and tilt as well. You get a lot of adjustability, and you can hear that click in there. I was saying about the solid feel here. This is, I don't know if you can see the mechanism there. It's got those little notches built in, so it's actually ratcheting in to a mechanism inside of the case, which does make the case a little bit thicker, but I think it's worth that feeling because this is solid. This isn't going anywhere. If you set this on your lap, unless you push on the top of it, it's not moving. So I'll go through some of the positions. You can go all the way out. You can go up to like a 90-degree angle. You can go somewhere in the middle. You can use the frontmost or the back, depending on what angle you want and how far you want it away from your face. So rotating around, you can use portrait mode, landscape mode. I found this was the mode I used it in most. I mostly used it for email and then notes apps. So I've cleared out all the stuff in here, so I won't be showing anything. But you can go in the notes, you just start typing this. I'm a little off camera, so it's not as quick as I normally would be typing on this, but a really solid feel. The keyboard is really good. Overall, the key size with most of these keyboards is a little bit smaller than a standard full-size keyboard or a laptop keyboard that you get. But the feel of this is nice. It gives you, you get the nice click feel. It's not mushy, I guess you'd say, like some laptop keyboards get. One of the nice features, the top row of keys here is a set of iPad specific keys. So you've got your home key is your left, you got your brightness. You can do the keyboard, so bring up the on-screen keyboard if you're on an app that supports it. Cut, copy, paste. Your media control keys, play, fast forward, and then your volume keys. And there's a lock key, but to do the lock key, you actually have to hold the function key, which I like. So you have to hold the function key to get to lock screen, which is really good. I prefer that. It can wake the iPad up, so you can go in here. That's one of the nice things too I like, is you don't have to type your password on screen. So you're actually typing your password on the keyboard, and you can't, when you're taking a video or something, you can't, unless somebody's watching the keyboard, watching what you're doing. So that's a really nice feature. One of the other things about the keyboard, I found that I could type about the same. I'm probably about 70 to 80 words a minute, I think is what I usually do, somewhere in that range. And I can type at the low end of that, so I can type 65 to 70 on this keyboard. When I'm typing an email or something with standard English language stuff, if I get into technical things or other stuff, I slow down like usual, but that's not a function of the keyboard. So with the size of the keyboard, it is a little smaller, but I'm able to type quickly, which is something you can't do in a lot of keyboards, especially ones that are really thin and they're you don't have the key feel. So when you type quickly, you really need that keyboard, the feedback from the keys, and I do find that I get that from this keyboard, so that's a really nice feature. I went over the iPad keys. Compatibility, like I said, it's nice that it works for unlocking. If you push the button, you do your passcodes. I really haven't found that there's oh, that was one of the other things is you saw when I clamped the case closed, when I open it, it turns on the iPad. That means it's got the stuff built in for the iPad case, so the magnets, I believe, is what they use on that. So that's really nice to have. The battery life on this keyboard. I have not charged this since I got the unit, and it's been over a week. It's been a week and 2 days now when I'm doing the video. And this came with the factory charge. I never charged it up, and I was trying to run it down, and I haven't been able to run it down. It's been a week and a half, or a week and 2 days. So I would assume you can probably get, once you fully charge it, you probably get a 2 weeks period out of this keyboard with daily use. I'm not using it all the time in meetings. I do have a laptop I usually use, but with half hour, hour and a half, depending on the day for me, is how often I'm typing things into the iPad. A lot of times I'm surfing and doing other things. But that's about the usage you'll get out of this if you're not using it more than an hour and a half or two a day, which I find, like I said, with keyboard, with using the keyboard for mail, notes, and other things that I would use for keyboard input. A lot of times you're watching things or consuming content, and then you're not using the keyboard actively. But I've left it on when it was both closed and open, so it's on all the time, and I've still gotten that battery life out of it. So the battery life in this thing is fantastic. I wasn't able to find the specs on the battery itself. So let's take a look at the other stuff on this keyboard. So one of the things that I noticed, the one issue I did have with it, which is a pretty minor nit, and that is the pads in the back. One of these little pads came off, but the reason it came off is probably a good thing. So let me show you. When it's down on the ground, when it's down on a flat surface, if you push it, they're really solid. And I believe what happened was I was pushing too far down and out at the same time, and one of the pads got left behind. But these pads, you can see they stick up quite a bit there. These are really, really sticky pads. They're a lot better than all laptops I've seen. They're really soft rubber, so they stick really well. So that part of the construction was problematic at one point, but I stuck it back on, and it hasn't moved since I stuck it back on. So it's been good ever since, and that was over a week ago. That was when I first got it. Another thing about the construction is this part is metal. So the part that actually holds the iPad is metal, and then it meshes with a plastic piece here. And there's metal pieces on all the hinges. So there's metal here. There's a metal pin actually holding that in there. Let's see if I can focus and make that work. There's a metal pin that goes through here holding that. So that whole rotation mechanism, the part that holds the iPad, as well as the part that's doing the rotation, that whole part is metal. So that gives the case a really good solid feel. The holes around all of the interface, so your hole here for your iPad cable, your power, your headphones, power, and volume. There's plenty of space around all these to push the buttons, manipulate the controls without having to worry about hitting the case or the case being in the way. So that's been really good. There's the grill for the speaker. That again leaves plenty of open space for the speaker. Still sounds good. So overall, this case has been very good for me. The battery life's amazing. Keyboard feels really good. One of the best I've ever had on these cases and keyboard combinations. Overall, I can't say enough. This is a device I'd highly recommend.